Hey, welcome to my channel. My name's Panache and I'm really happy to have you here. If it is your first time, baby, welcome to the party. I appreciate you. Thank you for tapping in, logging in. You know, I hope that you find it exciting, enjoyable, and I hope you come back. And if it's not your first time, I just want you to know that I appreciate you, I love you, and I continue to create content because of you. So thank you so much for all of you, for returning viewers. You guys mean everything. But yes, let's jump straight in. I am going to be starting a new series talking about, you know, things that I've learned that I wish I knew when I was younger. And I'm going to just try and keep them like really short and snappy on just some of the different things that I've really learned. But yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is be careful who you call a friend. Be careful who you call a friend and who you allow to get into your circle. I think growing up, you know, I was always quite like open to friendships and I just loved everybody and always saw the best in absolutely everybody, you know, like even if people would warn me and be like, oh, this person sometimes is a bit, you know, I'd always be like, no, I'm gonna make that decision for myself. And even if I would see certain red flags and certain friendships and things like that, ignore them, because I always was like, there's good inside this person. I will always look for the good inside a person. Now, don't get me wrong, there's no issue with seeing the good in people. There's definitely no issue in that. It's actually a good trait to have. But I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned and had to learn to adapt is to guard myself, that not to befriend people based on potential. Do not befriend people based on potential of who this person could be. Understand who they are now and apply boundaries. Have boundaries, protect yourself from certain things. And it's not everybody that you encounter that needs to be your friend, that needs to be within your inner circle. I think, you know, for myself, I went through certain friendship breakdowns that really affected me, you know, and really hurt me at the time. But I look back now and I realized, you know what, I needed to go through that in order for me to learn a certain lesson. And I think now that I'm older, one thing that I've become a lot more comfortable with is I am so much more comfortable being alone. Like not always having an audience and a crowd. Don't get me wrong, I am still a people person. I think people are amazing. I love people. And I have certain friends who are just, you know, to this day, they're my riders, they're my real ones. But yeah, like I think I had to massively let go of this concept of big group and a big, you know, BFFs for life and that whole thing. Learn to see red flags, even in friendships. I think sometimes we talk about it a lot with regards to like relationships and things like that, and knowing if you're dating a toxic person or whatever else. But friendships are so important. You know, they say, show me your friends and I can show you you. And they also say, like, your friends can either be destiny helpers or destiny hinderers, if that's a thing. Like, they can hinder your destiny. They're either going to elevate you or bring you down. Friends are very, very powerful. You know, like even in the Bible, there's the story of the lame man. There's a guy that was paralyzed. He was disabled. He couldn't walk. He was lame. And it says that he was carried on a mat by his friends when they heard that Jesus was in the vicinity. And obviously Jesus now has this track record of healing people, right? And the whole place was so packed, like they could not get in. They had their friend on this mat. They're like, yo, like we need to get this guy to Jesus so that he can get healed. Like his friends had so much faith that this Jesus that's been healing people can heal their friend and change the trajectory of their friend's life. When they're faced with this obstacle, what do the friends do? They climb up onto the roof, carry the friend onto the roof, like with this mat thing. And it says like they literally like create a hole in the roof. So, you know, sorry to the person that lived there, but yeah, they create a hole in the roof and they sort of lower their friend down in front of Jesus. And because of the faith of his friends and because of that tenacity that they had, Jesus heals the person, right? And a lot of us just, there's certain parts we can focus on. This is why I find the Bible so interesting, because every time there's like 10,000 ways to look at one scripture, one verse. And in that one thing that was always massively highlighted to me was this guy basically got his healing because of his friends. because his friends believed and had faith, and they were like, no, we're gonna carry you. Like, they had to inconvenience themselves for their friend to gain. Maybe he was in a space where he had lost faith, lost hope, and was just kind of like, you know what, it's what it is. This is who I am. Like, whatevs. I can't walk. You know, but his friends had hope and they had faith, and they knew that if we bring him to this Jesus guy, he's going to be healed. But that was because of his friends. Your company is so important. You know, there's even stories. The other day, my mom was speaking to me about a case of a young boy who got arrested. Wrong place, wrong time, some could say, but his friends were basically, you know, those situations where you grew up with certain people and you've kind of grown up and sort of grown apart, like you've taken different paths in life, but they're still your childhood friends. And he must have been hanging with his childhood friends, and in hanging with them, a crime was committed and they were all arrested, including him. But when you look at his track record, he doesn't have a track record of crime. He doesn't have a track record of doing these violent things or whatever else. But because of the people he was surrounded with, this guy's now in jail for like the next 25 years. And it's all because of the friends and the company that he chose to keep. You know, even if I look at myself, I went through quite a traumatic friend experience actually a few years back, where I won't go too much into the details, but at the time I was like 19 and I was with a group of girls, and to be honest, I was probably closer with just one of the girls, the main girl. And at the time, something happened, you know, fallout, whatever, and the main girl must have asked me to leave. So just to give a bit of context, we were in a different city. We had traveled to go to like an event or whatever. This is all pre-Jesus. Traveled to go to some event, going to some club, and a fallout happened with the main girl. She's now asking me to leave. Mind you, it's like 4 a.m. I have assisted and done my part to make sure that everyone got home okay, because everyone was quite intoxicated, but I was like still okay. Made sure that everyone traveled well, paid for the taxis, whatever, made sure to get everybody food. And I don't know what happened. I'm not going to go into ins and outs because I honestly couldn't tell you. Now looking back, maybe it was spiritual, I don't know. But the main girl basically lost it and was like, no, get out, get out. She just switched. And it made no sense to me or to everybody else there. But the thing is, the main girl is the person I was mainly friends with. And the rest of the girls, I guess, were sort of in support, like their loyalties lied with her over myself. And as I'm in this different city, it's 4 a.m. This girl has decided to switch up, you know, at some point. I don't know, maybe something had happened. Maybe the alcohol didn't agree with her. I don't know. But she basically kicks me out. She asks me to leave because she's like, no, I want you to leave. Get out, get out, get out. I laugh because I'm like, well, obviously I'm not going out. It's 4 a.m. I'm in a city that I don't know. What do you mean? And I think the thing that broke my heart at the time was the fact that all the other girls that were there and that were present, nobody spoke up to this injustice. Nobody found this as wild. And it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, she's asked you to leave, so you should leave. And I was like, leave and go where? You know, and yeah, the story sort of goes on. If you guys want to know more about that story, let me know. We can discuss it a whole other time. But yeah, like in that moment with this group of girls, everybody found it okay for a 19-year-old girl to be kicked out of the flat that she was staying at with her friends alone at 4 a.m. in a city that is not her own, with no means of transportation. And this is like uni time, so obviously finances are also limited. Like, it was just a mess. But obviously God came through because, you know, God's been looking out for your girl even pre-Jesus. Like, yeah, so God definitely came through, and it turned out that my cousin had just started like uni in that town, but he just happened to have gone to uni like a couple weeks earlier or whatever. And I phoned him and I was like, oh, do you know, I was actually calling him to be like, do you know anyone here, because I know you were planning to go to university in this town. And he was like, actually, I came like a week, 2 weeks early. I'm here. And he paid for my taxi. I went to his house, whatever. And that's where I stayed. And for those girls that were present, none of y'all ever asked me where I was. But it's okay though, now you know. I went to my cousin's. But, you know, for me at the time when I was like 19, I'm not gonna lie guys, I cried. Because these were people I had called friends. These were people I had traveled with and exposed myself by going to a new city and entrusting that we're all gonna have each other's backs. And, you know, it hurt me a lot at the time, and it caused me to have a wound, like a trauma wound, a friendship wound. And it caused me to literally have like trust issues when it comes to like big groups. And this is something I had to then navigate through and heal from, because that created, you know, trust issues, abandonment issues. It created so many things which could have been avoided had I trusted my gut instinct, because I always knew that not all these girls had loyalties towards me or saw me as a friend. I didn't need to be in that environment. But because of my love for one of the girls, I exposed myself to this situation. And it was a very painful learning lesson, but it was a lesson that I think has helped me to safeguard myself. You know, when I was younger, I loved the concept of being in a large community, being around people, and sort of, yeah, having that whole group situation. But it taught me that it's actually okay to be alone at times, or to be with your one or two real friends, the ones that you know are about you. It's not about having this big group that you can take pictures in. For those of you that are blessed with a group and you're all, you know, together and it's genuine and it's real, hats off to you guys. It's an amazing thing to have. And I can only pray that maybe when I'm like a mom, and like a married woman, a mom of however many, I'll have like my circle of other married women and we're like this little group. But for now, I have accepted and found peace with the fact there's certain individuals that are my friends. And yes, they're not all together geographically, but I know that these are the individuals that I know, I love, and I can trust. And I'm okay with that. Even if it means I'm not going out every weekend with my big group. It's not that deep. For the sake of my own sanity and peace, like, be very cautious of who you call your friends and who you expose yourself to and put yourself in vulnerable situations with. And also, even when in that journey now of making new friends, first of all, get your healing. I've done videos before on healing and the importance of it. I had to get my own healing. I had to deal with that trauma, prayed about it, discussed it. You know, I got counseling, like I spoke about it, because at one point I had so much hurt and anger towards those individuals, and it was just me that was hurting, because life went on for those guys. Like, they kicked me out and continued. They did what they had to do. You know, they continued. They had a good night. They got back to uni, whatever, like the next day, like life continued. But for me, that was like a massive turnaround moment. And it was something I had to get healing from, where even if I see these girls today, it's nothing but love. Are they my friends? No, not really. We're not friends. But we're cool. Like, if I see you, I'm always gonna, you know, say hello. It's always going to be love. If you're in trouble, I will always help you out. But before, I was in a stage where I was literally like, I don't even want to see these people. Like, their names would make me mad. But yeah, guys, guard your heart. Not everybody's meant to be your friend. It's okay, even if you've got your one friend and you know that that one friend is loyal and you know where you stand with them. Better that than a group that's gonna abandon you in a city somewhere by yourself at 4 a.m. and, you know, yeah. But no, honestly, shout out to God, because I look back and I'm like, it's actually the grace of God how that whole thing turned out. Like, he was still looking out for me. The fact that my cousin just happened to go to uni like 2 weeks early, that's the grace of God. Like, God knew the situation was gonna happen and created provisions for me to be okay. And, you know, it just also helped me realize who are my friends, who are not, and I stopped expanding energy towards certain people. But yes, that's definitely a massive learning lesson that I've had growing up, is it's okay to have even like one or two friends. You don't need to have the big groups. You don't need to, like, no, it's actually okay. And some people can be your friends, but with boundaries. You know, it's not everyone that needs to be like in your business, you know. But yeah, it's a little learning lesson. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm gonna try and keep these short and snappy. I'll be doing more of these, of things that I've learned that I wish I knew when I was younger. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please share in the comments below. Like, subscribe, come back again. And please, let's discuss. Like, let me know if you've been through certain friendship traumas, how you've navigated that. And I hope to see you guys again next week with more things that I've learned that I wish I knew.